Before we get into this video is sponsored by Pro Guides. Pro Guides provides a number of different courses to help you improve. For example, they have a decision-making course which will teach you about aspects of the game such as split pushing and roaming. You can also use their Genius chat to ask Challenger and Master tier players any question. I highly recommend you check them out. They have a 7-day free trial. Link in the description.
Time for a true display of skill. No problem. Know your environment.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mickey C, aka TheLoLHounds, and today we have a build guide on Jungle Ezreal. Yes, for those who have not kept up with the meta or the current trends in League of Legends over the last few weeks, Ezreal Jungle has actually become a thing, particularly in the higher elos after it was played in the LPL, which is the Chinese league, by the jungler Condi. Ezreal also received a buff to his Q in the most recent patch, which was meant to help him in the bot lane, but instead people have started playing him in the jungle. So I imagine a lot of junglers, after seeing that many high elo streamers have been playing Ezreal in the jungle, they would like to try him out themselves. So that is why I'm making this video, to give them a good starting point. Ezreal in the jungle has a very strong early to mid game and is one of the best users of both red buff and blue buff. His Q and auto attacks both apply red buff, and the blue buff means he can constantly spam his Q without worrying about mana, and it also gives his Q a shorter cooldown. This means his early game ganks and skirmishes are very powerful. So this video is going to be a build guide on Ezreal Jungle, going through his runes, masteries, item build, skill order, and early jungle path, focusing on the two Korean challengers who have been playing a decent amount of Ezreal Jungle over the past 2 weeks, and they are both Spirit and Punch. So without further ado, let's do this. So summoner spells, you take Flash and Smite. Runes and masteries. For your mastery page, the most successful and most common page, which is also being taken by Punch, is a 12-18-0 page, with your keystone being Storm Raider's Surge. Storm Raiders helps a lot with kiting and securing kills, especially in those small skirmishes and duels in and around the jungle. On the other hand, Spirit takes a different page, however, which is 18-12-0, with his keystone being Fervor of Battle. This is more of a standard ADC page, which gives you that extra damage, especially in longer duels. Both mastery pages are viable at the moment, and it comes down to preference. As for runes, Punch takes a very standard page, which is 980 reds, 9 armor yellows, 9 CDR blues, and 3 attack speed quints. Meanwhile, Spirit takes a similar page but more complex, which is 980 reds, 6 health per level yellows, 3 armor yellows, 6 CDR blues, 3 attack speed blues, and 3 attack speed quints. Which page you want to take may come down to what runes you have and how many pages you have. Both will most likely do a good job. Now onto the item build. So both Spirit and Punch go with pretty much the exact same build, which is starting with a Hunter's Machete and a refillable potion. As for the first back, you want to get Red Smite, and then if you have enough gold, upgrade your refillable potion to a Hunter's Potion. I noticed that players who upgrade to a Hunter's Potion have much more success than players who don't, because it basically means you are constantly at full health and mana. Following on from Red Smite, you want to get Warrior and then Boots. With Boots, you have a choice between Ninja Tabbies, Merc Treads, or Berserker Greaves. Get Ninja Tabbies if they have a lot of auto attack champions, Merc Treads if they have a lot of CC, otherwise you can just get Berserker Greaves. Next, you want to get a Trinity Force, followed by Blade of the Rune King. You can, however, get Hex Trinker before Blade of the Rune King if the enemy team has a lot of magic damage. For the last two items, they generally choose between a Last Whisper item, Guardian Angel, Maw of Malmoius, or Mercurial Scimitar. So for example, a common final build would be something like Red Smite, Warrior, Berserker Greaves, Trinity Force, Blade of the Rune King, Lord Dominic's Regards, and a Guardian Angel. As for their skill order, they start Q, get E level 2, W level 3, max Q first, E second, W third, and their ultimate whenever they can. Finally, let's talk about their early game jungle path with Ezreal. So the most common first clear is doing a 2 buff 3 camp clear, so something like red into blue into Grump, or maybe blue into Wolves into red buff. This will give you level 3 and now you have double buffs. Also, make sure when you are clearing the jungle, you are kiting as best you can with Ezreal, and when you are just about to finish a camp, try and kite in the direction you want to go next. For your first 3 camps, you do not want to do Raptors or Krugs as you'll just take way too much damage. After doing the 3 camps, this is when you want to look for any ganks available. If there is no ganks available, you want to head over to the enemy buff or jungle and try and find the enemy jungler if you can. If you do, you should win most 1v1 jungle matchups as long as you kite with red buff and dodge any skill shots with Arcane Shift, which is your E. If the enemy jungler is someone like Shaco or Evelyn with Ignite, you probably want to be a little bit more careful. If nothing is happening, just take the Scuttle Crab or maybe an enemy camp or 2 and go from there. After your first back and when you get Hunter's Potion, doing camps like Raptors is much easier. Basically, the strategy with Ezreal Jungle is to make the most out of your buffs in the early game to mid game, because that is when Ezreal is at his strongest. You also get some pretty good power spikes once you first complete Warrior and then once you complete a full Trinity Force. So once you get those items, it is a good time to look for a fight and then take some objectives. Apart from that, being good with Ezreal Jungle comes down to how well you can kite and land your Qs. A few other tips that I can give you from what I noticed is when ganking with red buff, just walk up to the enemy laner and auto attack them to apply the slow, and don't use your Arcane Shift or E straight away unless you really have to or they flash away. Another cool trick is when you are farming the jungle, you can W then instantly E, which will give you an attack speed buff because an ally getting hit with Ezreal's W gets a 5-second attack speed buff, in case you didn't know, which means the W in the jungle isn't completely useless. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Korean Challenger Jungle Ezreal build guide. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, drop that like button, and as always, have a nice day.